disrupt, adapt, repeat. You're listening to Pure Reinvention, the podcast for curious people.
Welcome to Professional Disruption Month at Pure Reinvention. Today, I'm interviewing Mike Beals, and we're going to talk about professional disruption. Mike, what is that?
Sonya, that is a really, really good question. In February, we had the opportunity to interview two really great guests, have a real exciting journey in professional disruption. But to me, professional disruption is the same thing we might have talked about with professional development. When we are willing to own our own journey first, when we are able to recognize that all next generation success as a leader and for our company comes first from us, then that is the beginning of the recognition of where the value of professional disruption takes place.
So are you saying first I need to understand who I am and where I want to go and what it's going to take for me to posture myself in that journey?
I think that we've been able to identify that ownership is a very important principle in the Pure Reinvention process. And in almost any success story of any magnitude, we have been able to track back a single individual who has authored and owned the corresponding results that take place. And so the question then becomes, are you as a professional willing to be that individual that can make a difference? That's willing to evolve from the current status quo, to start some new patterns yourself that will allow the business or others around you to then use that new energy that they see coming from you to develop and engage in their own professional development or disruption, right? Because any disruption is really a deviation from current practice.
Mike, can you speak to a professional disruption of your own experience or one that you've heard of that really sticks with you?
I think there have been so many examples of professional disruption, but we had the pleasure just recently of interviewing a phenomenal individual by the name of Gerald Rosen. Judge Rosen, who was a part of the grand bargain during the Detroit bankruptcy process, will be a featured speaker in many podcasts to come. But the Detroit bankruptcy process that Judge Rosen was involved with was only one of the many chapters in his professional development story. And as our podcast listeners have an opportunity to listen to Judge Rosen and the many experiences that he shares about the Detroit bankruptcy process and his role in the grand bargain, I would also encourage them to listen for Judge Rosen's What's Next. Because almost every individual who's done phenomenal work in making a difference has shown by example that they have embraced for themselves, individually and professionally, the ability to be accountable for their own professional disruption journey. Now, we may not call it disruption, but it is nonetheless the ownership of your own professional destiny. And that in itself is the disruption we're describing.
Mike, in your experience and in your connections, what has been the best influencer to help such ones navigate through such a professional disruption?
Almost every individual who's been on an aggressive and upward mobility journey has had a stable of influencers that they have surrounded themselves with. Almost every individual that we've talked to has had numerous mentors, a broad network of support, a broad network of individuals who have been their cheerleaders, who have been their caretakers, who have been resources that have allowed them to network, to join, to accumulate this vast body of support and knowledge on their journey. This is not a journey that we take alone. And those individuals who have cultivated the ability to reach out, connect with others in a very meaningful way, and have been able to learn and embrace the experiences and the diversity of thought that those mentors bring, have used that as the fuel for their own professional development, and have used that disruption in a very positive way to get to the next level of their careers or their personal or professional development.
Have you enjoyed our Pure Reinvention podcast? Are you ready to begin your own Pure Reinvention journey? Join our next Starters Experience May 4 through 5 and May 24 through 25 in Detroit. Learn the 5 fundamentals in an engaging and interactive way. Contact us at PureReinvention.com today. Mike, one question that comes to mind is Pure Reinvention is about sustainable change. With the elements that you speak to, owning, simplify, the mere fact of disrupting itself, what is it that makes it sustainable change throughout that journey?
It seems as though most individuals that we have talked to and learned from have one common trait, and that is they close the door behind them as they move forward. Almost every individual and circumstance that I can think of, there has been, if truly their intention was to move forward, an option they have removed is going back to where they were. The reality for these businesses, for these individuals who are on a journey of moving forward, one understanding is you can't go back. So those individuals who have taken on their new job with gusto and have embraced the concept that I cannot necessarily take my old skills to my new job, but that I have to learn new skills to be successful in my new job, tend to see more success. Those individuals who are able to recognize that the journey moving forward is to learn what it takes in my new environment to be successful, and then start my new base of understanding with those new principles, tend to be most successful. So, Sonya, it almost seems as though the ability to respect what you've learned and gained in your past experience is good, but to remember that many of the things that you will need to learn to be successful going forward are the things you haven't learned yet.
So always having that appetite and curiosity for the unknown.
Probably professional curiosity has been the number one indicator of a person's ability to be successful going forward. A person's ability to want to know what it's going to take to be successful in this new space is probably the number one characteristic of whether a person will succeed or not. When we see an individual actively engaging in trying to find out what it's going to take to be successful in their new job, we can put a high probability of an indication that they will be successful.
If you were to recommend one offering that supports this element of Pure Reinvention, what would it be?
Well, I think the one offering that Pure Reinvention has to offer right now that I feel the most excited about is our Starters Experience. The ability for individuals ready to invest themselves into the reinvention experience starts with getting into a reinvented space and being exposed to people who are actually doing the reinvention work. So this isn't about listening to Mike or anyone else talk about what reinvention is, as much as it is meeting, connecting, and learning from the people that are actually involved directly in reinvention projects. And then allowing the creativity and the connectivity and the motivation that comes from the great work these individuals are doing, I think becomes the catalyst for the professional curiosity for those individuals to want to apply that to their own work. And so I think we provide that space for individuals to come together who are ready and curious to take their careers to the next level.
Thank you, Mike, for helping prepare us for the conversation to follow and helping us have a better understanding about professional disruption.
This has been fun, Sonya. If you're ready for a change, make it a change that lasts. Make it Pure Reinvention.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Pure Reinvention. Keep the conversation going and get alerts when new podcasts are up by following us on Twitter at Pure Reinvention or sign up for our mailing list at purereinvention.com.